Okay, guys. It's exactly 12 o'clock as we speak. So, let's see how this is. Probably plug in headphones. It's 12. Nothing's happening. Oh. I think it's happening. The screen's black. Nothing's happening. Oh. A light turned on. Oh! Oh, you're supposed to play it!
Subject. I have nothing to say publicly at this moment.
Here was a new symbol of communist ruthlessness. Overnight, East Berlin became a concentration camp, sealing in the inhabitants of that sector. Barbed wire and cement were the answers to the refugee problem.
Khrushchev repeats his threat to sign a separate peace.
What happened? It stopped. Okay, so you had to play the VHS.
All U.S. personnel must show identification before entering that section of Berlin. American troops answer with the only language the Reds seem to understand, a show of arms. Castro marks the second anniversary of his revolution with the biggest military parade ever staged in Cuba, featuring tanks and other heavy weapons from Russia and Red Czechoslovakia. Shortly afterwards, Castro demanded the United States Embassy drastically reduce its staff to 11 persons. It was the last straw in his long campaign of provocation.
Huh? Do I gotta play it again? What happened? Oh, there's another tape. So we gotta play the tapes.
Should commit itself to achieving the goal.
Before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth. No single space project in this period will be more impressive to mankind or more important for the long-range exploration of space, and none will be so difficult or expensive to accomplish.
The assault has begun on the dictatorship of Fidel Castro. Cuban Army pilots opened the first phase of organized...
Oh, there's another one, I think.
...have U.S. marking.
These charges are totally false, and I deny them categorically. The United States has committed no aggression against Cuba, and no offensive has been launched from Florida or from any other part of the United States.
Is this like the 70s?
No.
I think we play another one.
Es un honor para mí.
Huh? Do we play another one?
Mm-hmm. Hoy, entre un grupo de los hombres más valientes del mundo.
There's a code on the bottom of the TV. I don't know what that is.
Castro gloated over his victory and told the world that Cuba was now a socialist nation and would hold no more elections. The next day, the United States officially proclaimed Cuba to be a communist satellite state.
Man had his first great success in space when the Russians pushed a man across the threshold. He was Yuri Gagarin, the astronaut the Russians...
Another clip.
As Lieutenant Commander Shepard walks to the elevator that will carry him 65 feet aloft to the capsule. It's 6:20 a.m., a moment of history. 2, 1, 0.
Was that when the first round that was launched? Around the Cold War? I don't know much about it.
The rocket
so...
performs perfectly as it lifts the funnel-shaped capsule gracefully aloft.
115 miles up, he went 300 miles down.
Oh, we're gonna play another one. How many tapes
right
are
on
there?
target and was picked up by waiting helicopters.
Ooh, 37. What does that mean? That's gotta be something.
The triumph of Alan B. Shepard, U.S. space pioneer.
37.
As the captain prepared, the launch let go, and the Mercury is lost. However, the moon gets closer.
Huh?
Albany, Georgia. A Negro fight against segregation is led by the Reverend Martin Luther King.
Why are they saying?
It's Martin Luther King.
Oh, there's a loading screen. What's happening?
We
must be willing
to fill up the jails
what is
all
this?
over the state of Florida.
This might be good. Oh.
Шар превращается в колоссальный светящийся купол. Яркое свечение продолжается. В этом опыте оно длится необычайно долго.
I hate that Call of Duty's doing this. I wish they could just show us the game. But no, they're gonna keep being like this. They did this for World War II as well. I'm pretty sure they did.
Just why the Soviet Union would wish to detonate a 50 megaton explosion, something about which we can all speculate.
At Oxford, integration at the University of Mississippi becomes a one-man crusade. When Air Force veteran James Meredith tries to register, the police lines are drawn, U.S. Marshals blocked. When university officials are cited for contempt of federal court, Governor Ross Barnett personally Negro applicant.
3725.
Meredith goes away, and the federal government ponders its next move. And the campus, the shambles of a battlefield. "75 students and other rioters are arrested. Among those seized, former Major General Edwin Walker, who is charged with insurrection.
What's insurrection?
And James Meredith becomes a duly registered student at the University of Mississippi.
Sir, there's been a great deal of turmoil and conflict. 2 people have been killed.
We gotta keep playing it. It's like it's broken.
Feelings of guilt, have you given it any second thoughts?
What happens if we touch anything else? Oh, he's not talking. Why is he?
I'm very sorry that anyone had to get hurt or killed. But of course, I think that's an unfair question to me. I don't believe any of you believe that I had anything to do with that.
What I like about this compared to World War II is I understand.
Leopold on his return from a conference of Congolese leaders in Madagascar, at which it was agreed to convert the republic into a loose confederation.
Bro, can someone make it so that the VHS is fixed?
Areas and sizable armed forces. The Congo's problems are far from over.
Vienna was a neutral arena for a sparring match between 2 worlds. The men who hold the power to write tomorrow's history met, smiled, and resolved no problems. The dictator and the president, the East and the West.
St. James Church in the Hudson River hamlet of Hyde Park is the scene of last rites for the First Lady of the World, Eleanor Roosevelt. President Kennedy heads the list of distinguished world leaders who pay last tribute to the extraordinary and...
JFK. Can you fucking fix the VHS?
...woman who is remembered as a humanitarian and one who loved her fellow man.
There is no strife, no prejudice, no national conflict in outer space as yet.
He got shot, assassinated.
Its hazards are hostile to us all. Its conquest deserves the best of all mankind.
People
and its
said he was
opportunity
really good too.
for peaceful cooperation may never come again. But why, some say, the
And now
moon?
they got fucking Donald Trump.
Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the...
I bet they did this just to make it more interactive.
Why, 35
fucking
years
website,
ago,
just play it.
fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon.
The moon.
We choose to go to the moon.
This is all during the Cold War.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Okay.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skill.
For fuck's sake.
The Cold war, the ground forces of NATO
They said
have been
Cold
alert
War. There you
against the
go.
military threat
In
of
the
the
video, it
communist
says
bloc.
Cold War.
Now,
There we go. It's
Honest
confirmed.
John
You need to watch
missiles
it,
add
guys.
to NATO's striking power.
President Kennedy
I'm
begins
so
a
glad I
tour
was
of
born around
4
this time
space
to fucking
installations
do
at
that
Huntsville,
with you guys
Alabama,
every time.
where
Imagine
he is
watching,
greeted
like,
by Dr.
YouTube
Werner
and
von
just go,
Braun,
oh.
space pioneer
You
and
just said,
director
there
of
you
this research and development center. The missiles on display are dwarfed by the mighty Saturn rocket.
Yeah, I said YouTube.
This booster
I
is
just
the
realized.
first
Oh my god, I just fixed the shit.
of the rocket that will put the 3-man Apollo capsule into a 2-week orbit of the Earth in 1964.
48. So what was it?
Lunar
37,
ship Gemini,
25,
which was
48.
developed here, will allow 2 men to
37,
orbit the Earth for 2
25,
weeks and will be used for
38,
experiments in outer space
48.
rendezvous
Oh,
and
fuck
docking
this up.
missions. This
I know
lines up
these
the
codes
president's
mean
first-hand
something.
look at our space
I
program
think
and
you
our
have to put them in the
progress
Warzone
race
thing.
for space.
Deficit come from a recession. We can take the proper action in the proper time. This can be the most important step we take to prevent another recession.
A recession.
That is the right kind of a tax cut, both for your family budget and the
That's
national
when,
budget.
isn't it like where all the businesses...
Chiang Kai-shek, leader of the peoples of Free China on the island of Taiwan, heads the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the overthrow of the Manchu dynasty. 11 million Chinese, strong with their dream of someday wresting their homeland from the communists, are marking the day that saw the end of 4,000 years of monarchy in China.
Oh, that's the guy that was,
December 2nd, 1961, Castro reveals, I am a Marxist-Leninist and will be one until the day I die. Socialism is a world reality today. There is no halfway between socialism and imperialism.
Zombies Map 5. He was one of the presidents, or... Do they even
This
call him president in Cuba?
government, as promised, has maintained the closest surveillance of the Soviet military buildup on the island of Cuba.
You know, him and Donald
to halt
Trump,
this offensive
they
buildup,
don't really...
a strict quarantine on all offensive military
Like, they
equipment
both...
under shipment to Cuba
Never mind, one has fucking corn on the cob hair, and then one has...
is being initiated. All ships of any kind bound for Cuba, from whatever nation or port, will, if found to contain cargoes of offensive weapons, be turned back. It shall be the policy of this nation to regard any nuclear missile launched from Cuba against any nation in the Western Hemisphere as an attack by the Soviet Union on the United States, requiring a full retaliatory response upon the Soviet Union.
Why was this tape so fucking long?
Communism's adventure is a
I don't think you're
sophisticated
supposed
one.
to touch it.
Political, psychological, subversive, with paramilitary
I think
features.
it's just that I keep flipping watch.
Can a democratic society, wherein the right to know and the value of knowing are basic, can a democratic society wage successful political, psychological, subversive warfare against communism?
Leather is falling into step in the fall fashion parade. Finished in an explosion of rainbow colors, leather has been styled into smocks and sheathed top skirts like this eye-stopping pair. Just the thing for a day's outing at Sterling.
Do I need to put it in? Do I need to... It says Volume 1. You know what that means.
The United States
We're
is
gonna have
arming
lots
and
of-
training mercenary forces for an imminent
I've been recording
invasion.
for 15 minutes.
He
I don't
calls
know if my
out some
phone can save
200,000 militiamen for training and guard duty at key points throughout Havana.
Oh my fucking god. What? Oh, it's stuck over this. Is it done?
Khrushchev happily receives the gift of the Cuban
bald,
flag
man.
as he lines up with a solid endorsement for the
Why does
home-brewed
it look like Humpty
anti-Americanism of Fidel Castro, the Soviet sole Western Hemisphere ally.
Can you shake hands and fucking... Fuck off, man. I'm suing. Like...
Just leave it.
No, you're supposed...
As he arrives back in Washington, the president hears more bad news.
Donald
China
Trump
has
is being
just
elected
invaded
in the
India.
next
Is this part of
40
a
years.
two-pronged
That's what it showed
communist
me.
assault? Now the president must weigh all the factors.
Imagine if they
one
show
final
footage of him
time,
getting shot.
then make his decision, knowing that whatever
I
he
could see them
does,
doing that because it's
he
Call of
risks
Duty.
nuclear war.
Am I supposed to fix it?
Meanwhile, the United States continues to reinforce its Cuban base at Guantanamo Bay.
Why is it fucking broken?
Mr. President,
Like,
I am submitting today a resolution to the Security Council designed to find a way out of this calamitous situation. This resolution calls, as an interim measure under Article 40 of the Charter, for the immediate dismantling and withdrawal from Cuba of all missile and other offensive weapons.
No, it's fine though.
The inauguration of Abraham Lincoln, 16th President of the United States, is reenacted in the nation's capital 100
Was he
years after
assassinated?
the event. There's a crowd larger than the original president this day, double the 10,000 of 1861. And the bright balmy day is in marked contrast to the gloomy overcast of a century ago.
Does he get
Scenes
assassinated?
familiar from history books and movies come to life at the Capitol as Mr. Lincoln arrives. He is portrayed.
The following is the letter which has just been dispatched from the President to Chairman Khrushchev. I think that you and I, with our
Why?
responsibilities for the maintenance of peace, we're aware that developments were approaching a point where events could have become unmanageable. So I welcome this message and consider it an important contribution to peace.
It urgently recommends that the United States and the Soviet Union confer promptly on measures to remove the existing threat to the security of the Western Hemisphere and the peace of the world, and to report thereon to the Security Council.
Earlier today, Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara announced that yesterday's photographic surveillance of Cuba indicated that the bases were being dismantled.
But with increased United States aid and instruction, Vietnam soldiers learned to fight back against the communist Viet Cong. Helicopters become a crucial weapon against guerrillas who strike, then disappear will-o'-the-wisp in marshes.
What's that?
Southeast Asia and Berlin are not
Whoa, 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 whoa.
only hazard areas in the orchestrated struggle
That's
of the
more
Cold
fucking
War.
weeks. That we gotta use probably in game.
There is Cuba, from which Bay of Pigs invaders hobble back when their ransom is paid.
The president visits the big missile center at Vandenberg Air Force Base.
I swear to God, if this is all it is and we don't get any actual footage of the game, I'm gonna be pissed. Because I don't give a shit about this, I just want to see the game. Thank you for telling us it's the Cold War, can we see some of it? Is it done?
That's new.
Oh. Oh, it's rewinding everything, isn't it? What's going on? Huh? Oh.
The French army has seized Algeria in its revolt against de Gaulle. More on that later. In Laos, the government's army suffered its worst defeat of the Civil War, evacuating its last stronghold in north-central Laos. Now the communists may want to begin ceasefire talks.
And I believe that in the 1950s, the United States can once again capture the imagination of the world.
Chicago, the Windy City, is both windy and snowy in the wake of a storm which leaves more than half a foot. Temperatures drop to 0 during the storm.
Same.
San Francisco gets the heaviest snow in 30 years. Children, many of whom have never seen snow before, are more spellbound than snowbound.
Oh
but
yes,
they soon learn
down
what
the fucking
to do
road.
with the stuff.
You'd never see kids doing that now. You see them doing that.
Yeah.
They're not down the fucking street. Look, another code. What is this?
I, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear
that you will faithfully execute
fuck are they
office
doing?
of President of the
I
United
saw me
States.
sweat. What are they doing?
faithfully execute the office of President of the United States
And will to the best of
Call of
your
Duty,
ability
why?
and will
Why can't you just give us fucking the trailer? We don't care about this. Yes, we now know that the game is based off of the Cold War. Big deal. What, you want us to watch more of these? It says volume 1 on the fucking... If there's like 6 volumes, I'm probably not going to make all of them unless we know.
Not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Imagine if Donald Trump could sound like that smart. He'd never.
British Prime Minister Harold Macmillan arrives in Key West, Florida for a conference with the President on the explosive crisis in Laos. They jointly declare determination to prevent the Southeast Asian kingdom from being taken over by communist supported rebels. Also discussed is Britain's ceasefire proposal to Moscow.
For sure we were a part of this. For sure.
Yeah, I know that we were a part of this.
We were their allies.
Yes, I know.
Willing to agree to a ceasefire in Laos.
unless we were just like, yeah, we'll support you, but
I have nothing to say publicly at this
guy sounds dumb.
Look for 61 will recall the Jazz Age, and where Paris leads, the rest of the fashion world is likely to follow.
Here was a new symbol of communist ruthlessness. Overnight, East Berlin became a concentration camp, sealing in the inhabitants of that sector. Barbed wire.
Are we watching it all over again?
Cement were the answers to the refugee problem.
Khrushchev repeats his threat to sign a separate peace treaty with East Germany, which he claims, wrongly, will end all Western rights in Berlin.
Served with an order by East German authorities that all U.S.
It's been 23 minutes and we don't have anything. We have 4 numbers. What were the numbers? We don't even fucking know.
With the only language the Reds seem to understand.
37 or 20, 25.
48.
Castro marks the second
I swear to God, we've seen this.
of his revolution with the biggest military parade ever staged in Cuba, featuring tanks and other heavy weapons from Russia and Red Czechoslovakia.
Are we watching it all over again?
Castro demanded the United States Embassy drastically reduce its staff to 11 persons. It was the last straw in his long campaign of provocation and harassment.
I swear to God.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal
before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth. No single space project this period will be more impressive to mankind or more important for the long-range exploration of space, and none will be so difficult or expensive to accomplish.
The assault has begun on the dictatorship of Fidel Castro. Cuban Army pilots opened the first phase of organized revolt with bombing raids on 3 military bases.
I swear to God, we saw this already. I'm watching a video.
Acting Foreign Minister Olivares.
We're watching a video. I'm watching the trailer.
Cuban raiders, which he claims have U.S.
Whoa. It's not a trailer. Yeah, we've seen all this. That was the so-to-be trailer or hints towards COD 2020. We all know now it's confirmed that it's about the Cold War, but I don't understand why Call of Duty has to, you know, grab like the game with the disc. Imagine like the whole thing and they're just like this, waving it in front of your face like, ha, you're not getting it yet. Like, just show us the damn game. But anyway, that's it. If you enjoyed it, smack a like, smack a sub, and I'll see you guys in a bit.